Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. About a month ago, we have been looking at the Aurora map in more detail, and one of you left me a comment, and that was Tererus, asking, I'm still having issues with this map, especially in my German battleships. So this one's for you, mate. I said I was going to go back, and here we are. It took me a long time to actually get some games in the Bismarck on the Aurora, to the point that my captain had already moved on to the Friedrich. So I'm playing this with a lower tier captain, and but I'm back in the Bismarck and we are on Aurora. So in the first game, we're playing domination, so triple cap. And who do we have on our team? We have myself in the Bismarck. There's a second Bismarck out there. We have a very good Cleveland player, and we've got a New Orleans, a Shores, a Benson, and a Mayhem. That's a pretty powerful team. The enemy team has a Bismarck of their own. They've got a North Carolina, a Hipper, which is a really good cruiser, Brooklyn and Belfast, 2 Aegis bombers, and an Akka and a Mayhem as well. So, well, let's go, let's start, and let's see how this plays out. Remember what I said earlier about Aurora in the other video? I went about the three islands, or the small islands that I'm trying to stay away from in a battleship. So I want to be in this open space between A and B cap, and we'll see which caps our team's going to go for. Ideally, I would have said A and B, but let's see where the rest of the team will go and what kind of agreement we're going to get. So we'll start out. I'm just going to head towards the space between A and B, and Frankie there wants to go into C in a cruiser.
No way.
There's a bit of a disagreement, but our Cleveland player wants to go C as well and calls for the team to stick together, which is a good idea. But if you look at our destroyer, I don't know which one it is, I think it's the Akatsuki, he is determined to go over to A. So the team seems to be sticking together, and they're going B and C. I don't want to go B cap directly, but I want to be able to support B cap, and I don't want to get too close to any of these islands. So I'm going to go into the space between A and B. This way I can support the Akatsuki if he pulls anything over to A, because we don't really know where the enemy team is yet. And there's the Brooklyn, and we've got the 2 battleships spotted. So let's pause it here, and let's take a quick look. So we've captured C without opposition. I don't know where the enemy destroyers are, because by the looks of it, they're not in C. Because there's one of our cruisers is in C, and he has captured C, so he couldn't have done that if there was a destroyer in there. They're not in B either, because one of our destroyers is currently capping B, and he couldn't do that if the enemy destroyer was there as well. We've got 2 battleships heading for B, the only 2 battleships, and we're currently spotting a Brooklyn. So we've only got 3 ships spotted out of the enemy team, which means that we have 2 more cruisers and both destroyers unaccounted for. Now, given that they've capped A, the Brooklyn is in A, but I would almost expect that one of the destroyers is in A as well. And we'll see where the other cruiser is gone. The other 2 cruisers are gone. So, well, Brooklyn is something we can start shooting at. So let's go for it. Remember what I said about these islands? They don't leave much space, and he runs into it. There's the Mayhem. The destroyer is spotting for us, so I'm not quite expecting to be surprised. And I'm starting to draw fire here. Broadsiding Bismarck, looking like isolated. Yeah, only at this distance it's going to be relatively hard for you to hit me reliably, especially if I'm maneuvering. So I'm just going to keep the fire up on the Brooklyn. And I'm fully expecting that the Mayhem is going to come up for me. The Brooklyn doesn't want to stick around because, well, he's got a Bismarck shooting at him. And one thing that you don't do is to let a Bismarck get close to you. Ah, there's one of the other cruisers. There's the Belfast. So we've got at least 2 cruisers and the destroyer, and by the looks of it, the North Carolina as well, coming out this way. Now the destroyer is spotted. And let's pause it again and take stock what has happened so far, because now we're starting to spot the enemy team. So our team is controlling B and C cap. It looks like the enemy team has left C completely uncontested, which means, well, we hold it and we didn't have any trouble with the islands there. Now, the enemy battleships are relocating, at least the North Carolina is relocating, obviously, to support on A. So by the looks of it, they consider me to be quite a bit of a threat, because right now I've got 4 ships focusing on me. There's the Belfast, the Brooklyn, the Mayhem, and the Northcal. Well, not just on me, the Akatsuki coming with me as well, but by the looks of it, they are very determined to not lose A Cup. So rather than contesting the rest of my team, they're abandoning the second cruiser and the battleship over there, and wherever the second destroyer is, I don't know. But by the looks of it, I'm going to have a lot of enemy team against me, which is good, because that means that we're setting up for a crossfire, and if they're shooting at me, I'm in a Bismarck. I've got a lot of health that I can tank with. The Belfast and the Brooklyn will need to burn me down, and that's going to take them a while. The only thing that can kill me very quickly is the Mayhem, so I'm going to have to worry about this guy first. So let's continue. So, Mayhem comes in. I'm slamming in the brakes, expecting him to have torpedoes out. I'm not yet popping the sonar because I'm expecting him to smoke up. But my auto secondaries open up, and I'm turning the nose in towards the Mayhem. Now, if he knew what he was doing, I would be in trouble. Now I'm popping the sonar, and I see 2 of his torpedo spreads completely went wide. The other one I'm going to take 1 or maybe 2 torpedoes, so I'm just turning into the torpedoes, healing up a bit. That's 1, that's 2, damage control the flooding. And now the Mayhem is out of torpedoes. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ships tied down. Maybe 5 if you count, if the Hipper was shooting at me as well. I don't know, I can't really check. No, I think it's just 4. I've got more than half of the team busy firing at me. That's awesome. That means the rest of our team can mop up. The other destroyer is spotted out there. But it also means that I need to relocate and link up with my team again, because otherwise I'll get focused down at some point. So I'm just keeping up the casual fire against the cruisers. I'm not making a huge amount of damage here, but that's not also the point. My point is of tying down enemy forces, having them shoot at me, the tanky battleship, rather than at our more vulnerable cruisers, and giving them opportunities to send some crossfire in. And there you see the crossfire coming in. That's our cruisers opening up at the enemy North Carolina. There's some high explosive coming in. He controls the fire. But we've got HE spammers of our own. Plus I'm now firing at the North Carolina. And look at them. They're all running into each other. They crashed into the island again. The Mayhem is still up. But now at this point, since we're controlling the 2/3 of the map, I can retreat a bit because I'm below half of my health. I can just deal with the Mayhem here. Speed out again, full on brakes in case he dropped torpedoes against me, and just keep firing with the secondaries. There come the torps. Yeah, not gonna go anywhere near me. There's a broadsiding Hipper back there, who's dealing with our battleship, but our cruisers have boxed in the enemy team in completely in A, and are keeping the fire up. Now, who am I going to help out? There's a Bismarck over there. He should be completely fine to deal with things, right? So cruisers are closer, so let's see if I can help our cruisers a bit to mop this up. They've got the Belfast almost down. There's the North Carolina. Yep, there we go. North Carolina is on fire. So I'm just helping out a bit with shelling over there. The Mayhem is looping around, and is again, they're boxing themselves in on A Cup, and they have no room to maneuver. So there's the Mayhem. He's well out of torp range. North Cullen against the Cleveland, so I'm gonna have to help our Cleveland and keep him alive. So I'm focusing my my main guns on the North Carolina, just so he can't deal with the Cleveland, and he might be able to. Yeah, there goes. Cleveland takes him out. Now there's just the Brooklyn left, and the Hipper and the Mayhem in their cup, and we've only lost I think our Akatsuki so far. I know that Bismarck seems to be having an enormous amount of problems with the Hipper. Last time I looked, the Bismarck was full health, and no, he's almost dead. So I decide, okay, I'm going to help this guy out, and see that I can do some damage to the Hipper, and together we should be able to take him down, because the Hipper should be almost in torpedo range, by the looks of it. Yeah, he should definitely be in torpedo range, so there's a good chance he's got torps out. There, Hipper's down. Our Bismarck did it, but... oh, no, that's the Mayhem. Mayhem's down as well. That just leaves the Brooklyn on low health. And the Hipper reaches out from the grave and takes the Bismarck out with him. That was the torpedo. So now at this point we've won the battle. I'm just going to sit here, wait for the Brooklyn to show up, and unload into his broadside. Because why not? There we go. That's my kill. Haven't done a huge amount of damage, But that was never my point. I was about to... I was there to be a threat and to tie down the enemy team and to make sure that, well, they wouldn't focus on our more vulnerable ships. So, if you're in a battleship, in a German battleship especially, people will try not to let you get close, because German battleships at close range are really, really dangerous. So, in this situation, there were 2 cruisers that didn't have any torpedoes. Yes, there was a Mayhan, but I was able to dodge his torps. Now, granted, that was a risk. If the Mayhan knew what he was doing and was rushing me, then he would have been able to unload a lot more torpedoes into me, but he didn't. So that didn't happen. And the enemy team let themselves be boxed in, probably because they thought, oh dear, there's already 2-3 of our ships around A cap. We need to stick together and give fire support, which is a good idea. The problem is they did it on the cap, which has the islands in the way. And you've seen how many times they've beached into the islands, giving broadside. And they got damn lucky that I didn't get citadels on the cruisers there. But, you know, it's these things are death traps. If you need to maneuver, you stay away from them. So if you're in anything but a very maneuverable light cruiser or a battleship, then try not to contest from that side. Try to get the other 2 caps. For us it has worked because they haven't gone for C. Now let's go to the next battle. So in this second battle, it turns out we have 3 battleships on our side. We're top team in the Bismarck. We have 2 Colorados with us, the rest are bots. And we have no destroyers at all, which is good news. The enemy team it has a Bismarck, a Colorado, and a Belfast. So the Belfast, obviously, as an HC spammer, is very dangerous against the bots, because the bots don't damage control. So, but he has to take time to burn them down. We're playing base capture this time, so that means we have 2 caps, but there are no destroyers, at least no player destroyers on the team. Well, there are no destroyers at all on the teams. So we are a bit more free. Let's go. And now what we want to do here is establish crossfires, because we do have players on the enemy team in dangerous battleships as well. So the 3 of us, ideally, we don't really need to worry. There's a Colorado right next to me. If he goes through pushes through the island, then I don't want to push with him, but I want to push through the middle. Because that way, if something focuses on him, I get flanking fire. And he's got the exact right idea. We're going for a defensive stance, okay, maybe, but let's do that. Let's not rush too far ahead. The bots are going to rush anyway, so let's let the bots go first and take the fire. So the Colorado on our left flank is going wide. The Colorado on our right flank is pushing past the islands. And we can do that because there are only bots here. There's the Belfast, and he smokes up, but I just saw him, so assuming that he will stop. Yep, he's still visible, and that's disappointing. Overpen and a semi-pen for broadsiding Belfast at that range, but you know, you never get the right shots. Now the bots are coming rushing in, obviously, so I want to go nose in, and I want the bots to have something else to shoot at. I'm again unloading at the Belfast. And I don't think I hit anything, so at this point I'm just going to go and clean up some of the bots here and look at the positioning of our battleships. So let me pause it here. We've got me in the middle, we've got 1 Colorado on the right flank, completely uncontested, and we've got the other Colorado on the left side of our cap. So whatever comes, this is a meat grinder, whatever comes in between us, we can have mutual supporting fire. I've got my guns right aligned, so if anything challenges our Colorado on the right, I can flank fire into it. If anything challenges our Colorado on the left, all I have to do is turn my ship around, and I can still flank fire into it. So we can, at all times, have 2 player ships focusing 1 enemy ship, which means we can get into just superior numbers of guns relatively quickly. Now we've lost our first ship, but that's just the bots, and that's to be expected. So that Miyoko is going to be next. And I'm just, at this point there's no reason not to get stuck in, and just let the auto secondaries do their work. Yeah, I'm taking high explosive fire from the Belfast, but I'm stopping here because I'm at point. So I want to let the bot go forward. Yeah, that's one ship down. And now our Colorado gets something to do. There's the other Miyoko coming, and it looks like the Belfast and the Bismarck are going to stick together, and the enemy Colorado goes left. So pause again. Let's look at the situation. Our Colorado on the right flank has just done away with the Miyoko, and is now being flanked by a Bismarck and by a Belfast. Well, not flanked, but attacked. So this is what I talked about earlier. This is the hammer and ambush scenario. So I'm in a perfect position now. I've got the enemy Colorado in front of me, I think, but I've got my nose pointed towards him, and I've got our Colorado on the left flank to deal with things. So I'm going to focus my fire here and try to do as much damage as I can, while they're either shooting at me. Yep, they are shooting at me. Is he shooting at me? Oh no, he's shooting at the bot actually. Okay, while they're busy shooting, I'm just going to unload into these ships. And making sure that I'm getting a bit too far back here. So it's time to go forward again, because otherwise they'll run out very quickly. So the Belfast is taking a definite beating while still firing at the center. Now the Bismarck's out of my range, so I'm just going to unload some more into the Belfast. And we've got them between the two of us, really. I've still got the secondaries out on the Belfast. That should take care of that guy. He realizes too late what problems he's in. And stop again. So now, again, there's the three of us. But the scenario has changed. We've sunk the Belfast. Our battleship on the right is on a one-on-one with the Bismarck. Now, while that's not ideal, and I would love to help with flanking fire, I currently can't because the island is in the way. On the other hand, our battleship on the left now has two battleships to deal with, one bot and a full health Colorado. So our left flank is more threatened than our right, so I need to turn around. Now, I don't want to turn the guns around because it'll take forever. I'll just turn the ship around because I'm in close range, which is ideal positioning for a Bismarck. We're even on ships, we're 10 points behind, so now it's time to bring the hammer down on the left flank. So the Nagato is almost dead. There she goes, the Colorado. Now it's a Colorado against Colorado. But let's make that 2-on-1 then. And the other Colorado fires on me, seeing me as the bigger threat, which leaves our Colorado completely free to unload into his side, which is fine with me. So I'm just going to let him do that. I'm going to get close, I'm going to give him almost broadside. Just angle in a little bit and just take it. I have the health. And our Colorado can crossfire the whole time. And I'm just gonna get close to him and see maybe I cannot flank him because I'm probably a little bit faster than him. See if I can get around his bow and cross his T and come around the other side. So I've got the health to spare. And it's a close one, but yeah, there, I'm coming around. And now I just have to outrun his turret traverse because he can't shoot at me anymore. My auto secondaries keep pumping shots into him. He can't get the main guns around, but I can. And there he goes. Now, it looks like our battleship on the right side has done away with the Bismarck. So, that's it. Hammer and ambush achieved. We have successfully dealt... I mean, good job on him. He lost almost no health. Poor job from the enemy Bismarck, probably, in return. On close range. But that's the kind of thing we can do. And now we control the map. There's only one carrier left. And this quickly, the battle has turned around. Now it's just a matter of who gets the last kill. I can use my precise aiming, get some more shots out. And just as I fire, the carrier starts moving, so these are probably all going to miss, yes. But our battleship should have that. There she goes. Well done. Good job, everybody. You see, we didn't need to communicate this. The only communication we've ever done was to say keep your distance and defend the base. So we're going to take a stand and we're going to spread out such that we get supporting fire in, And I don't know if that's if this was Miguel's intention when he was making that call. But as the top tier battleship, I had my nose in the front, and it worked. It worked out. Well done by the other two as well for playing along. And this is how you can support your team in these kind of scenarios. Now, we couldn't really have done that if there were destroyers on the enemy team. Different scenarios call for different approaches. But in general, the general rules I'll take with battleships on this map, especially German battleships, is don't be afraid to get close if you have to. Just watch out with torpedoes, but you do have sonar. They can't smoke up in front of you. You can see their torpedoes early. And you are scary. So unless they are very good destroyer players, they will be somewhat cautious and you can dodge most of their torps. And use your health, support your team, be where you're supposed to be. Don't be afraid to get in and get dirty. And yes, you will need support. And if you're reaching about half your health and you see that you're taking a lot of fire, it's a good point to turn and disengage. This use your long range guns for a bit and get your team to support. But stay away from these islands, because as you've seen in the first battle, these things are death traps. And in the second battle as well, if our Colorado had lost that one-on-one fight against the enemy Bismarck, then I would have been able to go back and prevent him from capping us. But he won, so there was no need for that, and we could do a three-pronged forward attack and just grind the enemy between the two between two battleships. So I hope that was a bit more helpful, and gave you a bit of an idea what to do on this map. I'm not saying that I'm lucky every time and it works out every time. There are times when I get unlucky and I get a good destroyer player and he just shuts me down. But in general, I try to always pick someone to support. I'm not waiting for the team to support me, but actively I can choose if I want to support. Like in the first battle, I chose to support the Akatsuki. He spotted for me, and I was giving supporting fire. In the second battle, we choose to support each other, and I chose to go for the middle because I'm the top tier battleship. So if somebody gets me in crossfire, I've got more armor and more health than the other two of them, and we can use that to our advantage. So that was Aurora once more. Hope you all had fun, and I'll see you next time. Bye.